I love that you're in nature. I'm in my little apartment, quarantined, and I've pushed my table aside so you can't see how much garbage is on it, but whatever.
I'm in my friend's backyard.
Oh, very cool. Welcome to the Hard Way Pod. For the listeners, we've got Jihan Sabir. She's a hilarious stand-up comic, when we could be on stage. And can't wait to find out what else you've been up to and why you're in nature. What's up? What's going on? How are you feeling right now with all this chaos?
I'm okay. I basically have been working the whole time. My job assignment just ended this past week. So
okay.
I'm currently unemployed, which I'm actually kind of happy about.
Yeah.
I'm tired, girl. I'm tired. Everybody over here baking sourdough and, learning how to sew and shit. And I'm over here working. I'm tired.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a much needed break for sure for a lot of people.
Everyone's getting up at 11. I'm getting up at 7 every day.
Oh my gosh. Because you're still used to your schedule. Did you have to go into work?
Yeah.
Physically? What? Where were you working?
I'm a nanny.
Oh man. So like kids that are just bags of disease walking around during a pandemic. That's great.
They didn't have COVID. They have all the other stuff though.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. You kind of forget that you can get regular sick still, like during this.
Right. Exactly. Like, no, they were fine. That family was super paranoid. Like, I went to work for them in May, and they hadn't left the house they haven't left their house since March.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah, but that was what made it hard because we're just stuck in the house. It was so monotonous. Like, it was so soul crushing that even the kids, the light in their eye was dimming.
Oh my God. And you're like, how can I stay like, secure for these children whose like light is leaving their eyes? Oh my gosh. That's terrible.
Right. 2 and 3. If the light is leaving your eyes at 3 years old, something is wrong.
Yes. That's no good. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the mom's taking like some time off to be with them, so that's why my assignment ended.
Yeah.
So I'm taking a little break, and then I'll find another job. Everyone wants a nanny because no one wants to be with their kids.
Yeah. nobody likes children, but they're like, fine, we'll keep the world going. Let's keep reproducing. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, that's good that you're like getting away and out in nature. I just went to Big Bear with my boyfriend and like 2 other friends, socially distanced trip, really big place.
No judgment here. No judgment.
But it was crazy because I was like, I'm going to rent a boat and I'm going to go on a wave runner. And then like I get there and I'm like trying to do it. And like, they're like, you should have booked this weeks to months in advance. And I'm like, I booked this trip like 3 weeks in advance, so it was impossible. But yeah, but it was still really fun, and it was good to get out of the city. That's the first time I've left, like, because I'm still working, and I'm working from home, and I never go anywhere like at all. So it was just like I need to get the hell out of here, and it was really nice just to get away.
I'm away right now. I'm in the Bay Area.
Oh, cool. Yeah, but you're not like, I don't know how their numbers are doing out there, but is everybody like masks and, Yeah,
everyone wears masks. Yeah. All these people, I see very few people without masks.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where all these unmasked people are.
They're on Twitter somehow. Yeah.
I don't know where they live, but everywhere I go, everyone has a mask, even the kids.
Yeah.
But no, my family's from here. So since I had a week off, I drove up. And,
cool. Yeah. Smart move driving up. You're like, I'm not getting on a fucking plane. That's crazy.
Yeah. I actually did get on a plane.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Like a month or so ago, I had to fly up here because I was still working, and I work Monday through Friday. So I have very limited time off. So I needed to get here quick, I needed to be fast because the plane ride is only like 50 minutes.
Yeah, versus like, what is it, like 6 hours, like driving?
Yeah,
assuming
exactly.
You don't get stuck in traffic, because if you're on that like one road, it's like one lane.
It's 2 lanes. But,
okay. Yeah, I'm like,
but you should have saw me. I had my mask. I had this mask actually, and then I had a face shield, and then I had my hair in a hat. And
Oh,
then I had like my plane hoodie, you the hoodie you wear on the plane.
yeah.
You have it, you zip it up, and then. But I have to tell you, that was the best flying experience I've ever had in my life.
Really?
I
Why?
I get to LAX. I had to come after work, so it was like limited amount of time because because of COVID, they're doing less flights. So
Mm-hmm.
they only had like 4 flights that day, and I had to get on the last flight of the day, which was at 5:50. I get off
Mm-hmm.
at 5 o'clock. Okay, so I convinced them to let me off a half an hour early so
Uh-huh.
I could get to LAX, and I got to LAX at 5:05. There's no one in line. I
Nice.
breeze through. I don't have to touch anyone. I do mobile ticket. They
Yeah.
have this machine now. You know how like they check your ID?
Yeah.
Like they scan your ticket to look at your ID.
Mm-hmm.
They don't touch it anymore. There's a machine and you just stick your ID in and it takes it in and scans it and you take it and they can
Oh,
see it on the screen and they're like, oh, okay, go through. There's like one person in front of me. They go, excuse me, ma'am, do not take your shoes off. I was like,
oh,
you ain't got to tell me twice. Kept my
yes.
shoes on.
Oh my God.
I didn't have to go through how like you go through the metal detector where you have to like put your
Yeah.
hands up and it like
Yeah.
fucking goes around you.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do that one. I did old school, baby. You just walk
Nice.
through
Yeah.
and
Didn't
they're like,
beep.
you're
I'm good.
good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I just had a carry on because I was only going for 2 days.
Yeah.
Grab my carry on and I walk over to my terminal and I still had like a shit ton of time to spare. So I go to the bathroom, I wash my hands, I adjust my mask and my hat and everything.
Yeah.
And like it was amazing. I get on the plane, no one sat by me, I
Oh
was by
yeah.
myself, got a window seat, I sprayed everything, obviously. They were like, you guys, they were like, if you have wipes or spray, you can spray to your leisure. Just don't use bleach. I was like, you ain't gotta tell me twice. So
Yeah, right.
I had one of those little travel bottles filled with alcohol
Uh-huh.
because there's no Lysol anywhere.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I
Yeah.
was like spraying everything. I sprayed the carpet even, bitch.
Oh
Because
my God.
you have to put your bag, you have to put your
Yeah, and then
bag
you put your
on the
bag like on
floor.
your bed. Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah,
So I
totally.
sprayed the carpet. I sprayed the people in like the seat in front of me, like the arms. I sprayed the seat belt, right? I sprayed the wall, the window. I
Oh
looked
my
like a
God.
goddamn cleaning lady. I was just like cleaning all this stuff. And then I sat on the plane and for 50 minutes I watched a Netflix show I downloaded and then we were there.
That's
And it was
beautiful.
amazing.
It's like
It
the
was
one
like
silver
I was like
lining of fucking having a global pandemic going on. It's like I
I'm
don't have
like,
to take my
why
shoes
wasn't
off.
it
Yeah.
yeah, why wasn't it like this before? I'm
Yeah.
like, what the fuck are we doing? Why
Yeah.
wasn't flying like this before? It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
You know what's funny though is when I was flying, so I came for the weekend because I was coming to see my boyfriend. Right? So he lives here.
This is
My
gonna go
boyfriend.
live, Jihan. Careful.
Oh, so so I was like, oh, let me download just like an hour show on Netflix because it doesn't take that long to get here. And I was like, oh, I'll put something on that's like more romantic, so to get me in the mood, right? Instead of I could have watched like the Five Bloods, but I was like, nah, that's too violent. So I was like, let me get something like more romantic. So I downloaded this show called um, Say I Do. Have you heard of this show on Netflix?
I've seen it in like the thumbnails, but I haven't watched it. But I'm a big rom-com person. I love like that
Well, it's
cheesy.
not a rom com. I
Oh.
thought it was, right? But it's actually like a reality show. It's kind of like it's almost like Queer Eye, but it's like these three gay men and they go to different towns and they basically like the first episode is this guy who's married to this woman and their first wedding was a complete disaster and so he wants to throw her like the wedding of her dreams, right? And so these guys are there to help him throw this, and it's a surprise and they tell
Yeah.
her like 2 days before the wedding like, hey, we're getting married in 2 days. And so I was like, oh, this is cute, I'll watch this. girl, it was so emotional. I was like crying on this plane, right? With the mask and the shield on. And I'm
Oh my God.
crying and I'm like sniffing and I'm trying to dab my eyes, but I have the fucking shield on.
Under
So I have to
the
go up
shield.
under. I'm like trying to go up under and dab my eyes. The shield is like really sharp on the edge. I'm cutting myself.
Oh my
Like
God.
everyone, I was like, they probably all think I have corona because I was
Yeah.
like sniffling.
Yeah. You can't cough. You can't sniffle. Like it's over. Oh my gosh.
It was such a mess. I was like, why? This is so emotional.
Yeah.
It was so beautiful.
Uh, why is it like, yeah, like as I get older, I cry over happy things. I'm like, this is so good. People are being nice. That never happens. Oh
I know
God.
I never did that because it was like such a like the woman, the reason why he wanted to throw her the wedding, like at that time was because that year she had lost her father and her sister within like a 2-month period.
Oh my
And so she was
God.
really sad and like, and he wanted to do this for her. So it was like so beautiful. And I was
Yeah.
like, ah.
And are you in your head? You're like, I'm going to visit my boyfriend. Um,
I don't
this
know.
is this
I
is
actually,
us. So we're gonna get married.
no, no, no. It made me realize I missed my family. And I was like, I miss my dad. And like,
Oh, oh my
and
God.
I was
So
just like, ah,
yeah. Oh my gosh.
a
It was like the
mess. I was a
stewardess
mess,
checking in
a
on
whole
you,
mess.
like, oh,
No, they don't check in either, by the way. They come by twice. They're like, do you want water? I was like, I'm good. She's like, cool. Then
yeah,
they come by and they're like, you want a snack? I was like, I'm good. Cool. And then
yeah.
that's the last time I saw them until
Oh
I
my
got off.
gosh. Well, yeah. I mean,
They leave you alone.
yeah. Granted, it was like 50 minutes, but still, like I'd be like the one
Well,
that's
yeah,
like
but
pushing a
yeah, on a
button.
normal flight, like
Yeah,
when it was normal times pre-COVID, they check in with you a few times. Like they take your
yeah,
order, they ask if you have trash. Like they come by at least, even in the 1 hour, it's like at least 4 times.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
but
wow.
not this time. They're like, "Fuck you."
Yeah. Fuck you. Press the button if you need anything. Yeah. Well, that's good
I'm
though.
not
And
coming.
yeah, and then if you have like the whole like row of seats to yourself, that's like the dream. So
Oh yeah, I had the whole row, baby.
yeah,
I
that's
was like,
good.
yeah, I sprayed those seats too.
Yeah.
I ain't taking no risk.
Yeah. No, it's crazy
All the
because it's
seats.
like if you don't think that you constantly have COVID right now, I feel like you're not normal. It's like, I've gotten tested and passed, but then I'm like, but then I went to my mini grocery store Target. I could have gotten it then, it's over. I don't know. Ugh. Yeah. So,
Weird.
well, that's good that you're getting out of town and all that. How are you feeling with everything else going on? Like one of the reasons that cause I'd taken a break from the pod for COVID and then brought it back because I was like, let me open up the platform to Black voices, let them see how they're feeling right now. Maybe I could teach some of us ignorant white people some stuff without having them get direct messages from their friends. Cause like some of my Black friends are like, white people need to stop asking me how to not be racist, It's as like
Girl.
quote unquote woke as you think you are, you still make those mistakes if you've never been in the
Some of y'all
situation.
need to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Some of y'all need to go to sleep. You're too
Yeah.
woke. You
Yeah.
need to go take a nap.
You're
That's
like,
how I feel. I'm
yeah.
like, you overly woke.
Oh no. So yeah,
I'm,
what's that about? You're making it worse. But is it like when I think you saying that, I think about like the people that are at the protest that it's like when there is a conversation being meant to happen, like I feel like the white women are the worst right now. So like I've been asking everybody, I'm like, how do you feel
right
as
now.
yeah, I know, right? But I'm like, how do you feel as a white woman that I'm doing this? Because like we're being the worst. Or I'm so embarrassed for my, counterparts. I'm like, you're embarrassing me, you're embarrassing us. Can we please not be the person that like there's like a person that's like a Black person maybe running the BLM protest, talking to a cop, trying to de-escalate, and white woman runs up and is like, "Don't fucking talk to him, pig," and like spits in his face. And I'm like, why are
Yes,
you ruining
that does
this?
happen. You're
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No. You'd be like, hey, I need you to chill out.
Yeah. You're like, you're making it,
We
you're
got this.
discrediting the movement.
It's like a whole Get Out situation. Did
Oh
you see
my
Get
God.
Out where he's
Yes,
like,
of course.
yes, officer, and she's like, why are you pulling us over?
Yeah.
La, 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 la. Like that's the shit. You're like, okay,
You're like, don't
I'm
put
gonna need
us.
you to be quiet. I know it's against your nature, but
Yeah.
I need you to be quiet.
It is against
Um,
our nature to shut up, isn't it? It's just like, Jesus. Yeah, because it's like, you are putting me in danger right now. Can you please just stop? Like, somehow this will be my
oh,
fault.
danger.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. There's one kind of white friend that I love. I had a white friend just send me $50.
Yeah. Nice.
and
Everybody hear
and then,
that? Yeah.
yes, send me money.
Yeah.
She sent me $50 and I was like, oh, what is this for? She was like, it's the least I can do.
Ah! He's like, reparations.
I said, thank you. I appreciate you. And, if you feel an urge to do it again next month around the first, I wouldn't be mad at you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's good. But it's like, it's such a weird time where you're like, am I overstepping? Am I doing this? And it's like, luckily I've gotten good feedback, but I've watched, re-listened to episodes and I'm like, why'd you say that? Like, why'd you say that dumb shit? Like,
No, but
that's,
it's good. We're all learning,
yeah.
from each other. If you don't have the conversation, it stays the same. And
Right.
so it has to be like you have to hear people out, each other, each people have to talk to each other.
Mhm.
And when you're trying to figure things out, you say stupid shit all the time.
Yeah.
But it's good to like get that out so it's not festering in your brain. So
Yeah.
if someone has the opportunity to challenge you on whatever idea that you think is correct or whatever,
Mhm.
that you have a way to like process through that with someone who maybe knows a little more than you,
Right.
and vice versa. Like nothing's going to get better until we actually have the conversation. So
Yeah, exactly.
anyone who's like not wanting to talk about certain things because it's painful, or you know because of the history, it's like, well, we're never going to get through it if we don't talk about it.
Right, totally. And like for me, like personally, I've always been very bad at any history. Like it was like I'm like part of my brain is missing, or like I can't remember a date to save my life that something happened like a year. Like it's just like a number applied to an event. Like I know the events happened to a degree, but there's also like we're taught history in a way, at least I was, where white people are always like the savior and like the good one, you know? So it's like
Yeah.
this is like a lot of learning about like even just even thinking about like Thanksgiving and like Christopher Columbus, like it's like only now like later on people are like, but was that a good thing? Should we be celebrating? So there's a lot that
Yeah.
I'm learning now, and like, just even trying to research and read up and um like learning about things like Willie Lynch letters, and then having and like really seeing an episode and having somebody be like, hey, actually those were fake. And I'm researching and I'm like, really? They were fake, but like the tactics were real. And I'm like, but I'm also looking at like who's saying that they were fake. And I still, even with the internet and everything, I'm like, I can't figure out the answer. So I am reminding people about this podcast that I'm like, I do
Yeah.
not know everything. I'm not a racism expert and I'm not claiming to be. So please don't like take these things and run with it. I'm literally just trying to open the conversation and like here's some like opinions and stories from people who've been through this shit and wondering like how you must feel right now. Cause to me, I'm like, I'm lucky
Yeah.
enough that I haven't had to deal with it until I'm
Hmm.
like, wait, like this is bad. I'm gonna go protest, but like this isn't the first time this has happened. This isn't like
Right.
George Floyd isn't the first guy that dies by the hands of the police. Breonna Taylor, same thing. And it's like, I want to like keep it open so we don't forget and don't move on, because there's so much fucked up shit going on, especially with politics and Trump and everything. And, just like the divide that comes with that, I've had a big divide with my family over it. And I've heard people you know, like black people that have come on here and been like, my, cousin's a cop and we don't talk about it because it's a really tough line to be on when you're a black cop and everything's fuck the police.
Yeah. You're already, I think black cops, there's a few different kinds of black cops because they're already at a, I don't want to say disadvantage, but they're already kind of like on the edge, because of the culture. And so some of them, not all of them, I would never generalize them that way, but
Right.
there might be situations where they're overcompensating because, I mean, they do have to work with these other people. And so they don't want to alienate them because
Yeah.
they might need them in a life and death situation. So they might overcompensate and maybe treat people in their community in a way that they maybe wouldn't if they weren't in that position.
Right.
Um, it's a tough spot. And like, you know, I used to work at a coffee shop and we got a lot of cops in, and some of them were really good people and really good at their job, and some of them were assholes. But
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of humans. But
Yeah. Right. Right. Exactly.
right, I know so many assholes, and it's just a rough thing. And like, my cousin was killed by the police, and
Oh my God.
um, it's like, it's a really it's a complicated issue. And you know, personally, I'm not a person who likes to generalize anything, or to give some kind of simplistic response when
Yeah.
it clearly isn't. um but obviously there needs to be some kind of culture change,
Yeah.
because it's, you know, it's not really, it's not working.
Yeah. No,
And
it's,
I think that,
yeah.
yeah, that's, I think that's something that like that's the hard part about it is, right? And like, humans, even though humans are incredibly adaptable, I think people forget like how adaptable humans are. Like, if something happens, we fucking adapt. That's just how it is. Like,
Yeah.
but like, people are, it still doesn't, people are still afraid of change. Like, it's
Yeah.
scary, but we're super we adapt constantly. Like, just think about technology. Technology has leaped in the last 20 years like fucking bounds.
Mm-hmm.
And we adapted. Like,
Yeah.
my parents, when they were kids, they didn't have anything close to a fucking cell phone. Like,
No
you're
way.
lucky if
Yeah.
your family had more than one phone, more than one line in their house. If you
Right.
had more than one TV.
Yeah.
Like, everyone has a fucking TV in their pocket now.
Yeah, exactly. They have a full computer in their pocket. Yeah. And it's like the fact that my
Yeah.
95-year-old grandma knows how to use her computer or her phone, she's still like confused by it for sure. But
My mom's 70. She's on the Facebooks all the time. She found all the videos, you know? And so it's like, we're extremely adaptable. So it's okay if we change. Like, if things change, we will survive and we will adapt. And so it's just getting that, getting it started is really difficult
yeah. And
for
having people
people.
like not be defensive in why the change is there, which is like the issue that I'm seeing with like, certain people in my family where it's like, look,
Mm-hmm.
granted you weren't here 400 years ago starting this doesn't mean like you didn't contribute and aren't contributing in some way and can't at least like
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge the
Mm-hmm.
discrepancies, and it's really tough when people are so unwilling to change. And that was one of the things, like just reading about just the evangelical like religious people kind of in those like middle states that are still pro
Mm-hmm.
Trump, and you're like, how can you be Christian and be pro Trump when he does so
Mm-hmm.
many unchristian things? And like
Mm-hmm.
they're reading the article, it was like a New York Times article. I was like, wow, this is really sad that like they're so afraid of losing religion and this thing that they're so used to in their bubble that they're willing to sort of allow a lot of other things because they're feeling attacked, and they're feeling like if you say you're super religious, people automatically assume that you're racist or that you're this or that you're that,
Right, right, right,
so they're
right.
willing
And I don't
to,
think that's fair.
yeah, and they're willing to allow all these things that they don't agree with just because they're like, well, as long as I can keep the thing that I'm used to, and so it's like it's a really
Right.
tough thing.
People do that all the time. It's like a
Yeah.
human thing. What
Yeah.
we're constantly cherry picking
Yeah.
to justify certain things, and we let certain things go because they're like, well,
Yeah.
because it's more comfortable. Or and the whole Trump thing, I'm just kind of like, I'm over it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even pay attention. Listen, I honestly don't. Like, I don't have a Twitter.
Ugh.
Well, that's not true. I do have a Twitter, but I don't go on there.
I
My whole
think that's
Twitter is,
probably good.
my whole Twitter is Instagram links.
Oh yeah. Oh, so you're one of those so like nobody follows you because they're like, this bitch
I
isn't even
know.
trying. Yeah.
I'm not. My friend told me he was following me. He's like, I unfollowed you because
Yeah.
it's like only
No, I
Instagram
wouldn't
links.
follow somebody like, especially like if you notice that they don't actually tweet, you're like, well,
No,
you're not
I
gonna,
don't tweet.
yeah, you're
I
not gonna
don't
show
tweet.
anything.
I don't look at the Twitter. Like, I don't read anything on there. I certainly don't follow him. I'm
Yeah.
like, I think it's because everyone's following him. Everyone's constantly talking about him. I'm like, yo,
Well,
leave that
think,
nigga alone.
yeah.
He might chill the fuck out. People paying attention to him less because he loves the attention.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the problem with Twitter is like you get that like when you start getting the attention with anything with the likes or the retweets, you're like, ooh, I gotta see them. I gotta see what people are saying. But there's just like so much shit going on, and both sides are doing so many bad things, and there's so many systems that I personally think need to change. That I'm
I
like,
know.
we need to start with one, and then like go from there because it's like Trump has got to go, in my opinion. You know, he's taken
Yeah,
fucking
he's not great.
he's taken
But
post office boxes away, trying to
what? I
ruin the
don't even understand that. I was like, what's happening? Like, see, that's how like I'm like. Somebody was like, "Oh, did you hear about the
yeah.
mailboxes?" I was like, "The who? What you talking?"
Yeah,
So they told
they're
me,
trying to defund the post office before the election, and they're removing mailbox drop locations for that. And like personally, I always drop mine at like a polling location, even
"Yeah, I
though
always
I
do it
do
at a polling place
because
anyway.
because like mail does get lost, but the thing is
It
like
goes
they're
in the machine."
purposely slowing things down. And like the
But I'm
postmaster is like a Trump supporter, and it's like that's a little conflict of interest, don't you think? You know that,
it's,
yeah,
but man, this whole election is depressing. Like
yeah, it is.
these options are shit,
These
and I'm just like,
I'm like, are these the
and
shittiest, or
then
am I just paying the most attention now? Because I think they're the
I
shittiest.
thought it. Listen, I thought 2016 was shitty.
Oh my god.
Boy,
Oh boy. We
2020.
were wrong. We get
They're
two.
like, I'll raise you.
Yeah, I'll raise you two sexual predators and a cop VP. Just saying.
No, I'm like, oh, Sleepy Joe, and everyone who's like, my friend. Trump. He's not great, but he was right about Sleepy Joe. I, I was, I was like, this dude, he needs to go home and take a nap and never return. Like, what are we doing? Why are we tramping out someone's grandpa who should be at home watching fucking NCIS to run for president? What are we doing, you
Oh
guys?
my
And my
god.
friend, she goes, I think he's very sharp. I was like, are we watching the same person?
I
I'm
know.
shocked he doesn't know he even remembers his fucking name.
Yeah.
Like,
In his
luckily his
defense,
name only has one syllable.
he was riding a bike the other day,
He
which,
was riding a bike.
hey, he got on a bike. I don't know, but you're right. No,
But you
these
never forget. Remember, they
yeah,
say you never
yeah,
forget. But
yeah,
that's
like
the only thing you didn't forget.
yeah,
What Joe Biden needs to go home and
yeah,
take a nap and just never get out of that bed. And
yeah. You're like,
like,
just go die, please. We're over it. Please
I
fall
don't
asleep and
want
never
to.
wake up.
Please, what are we doing? Like, that's the best we could come up with was a 78-year-old man. Oh, and his
Yeah.
skin, boy.
Oh my god.
Let's just talk about you can't even take care of your skin. How you gonna take care of the country?
I
Look
know.
at you. Come
Yeah.
on, boy. That hairline, I
Oh,
can't.
oh my god.
Joe Biden.
Oh
And
my
then as
god.
everyone's all excited for Kamala, I'm like, Kamala. So my friend was like, only in American politics could your VP pick call you low key racist. And then you guys are all honky dory with each other. It's like it was like for 3 months you called him racist. I mean,
Yeah.
now you're like, I support Joe. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be his VP. But
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well, is he still racist?
Yeah.
But also, like, I guess maybe he's still racist, but you just don't care now.
Well,
Like, I
because
don't understand.
she's hoping he goes and dies, and then she just becomes president.
I don't know. And
Uh,
it's interesting hearing people justify it, like my mom's like, well, yeah, he said some stuff, some racial stuff in the past, but she probably thinks that like by being VP, by being in there, she can like change it. I was like, what are you saying? I was
Yeah.
like, Joe Biden doesn't even know where he is half the time. I don't think he's out plotting to do like to pass racist legislature. He
Yeah.
doesn't even know where he is. I
Yeah.
was like, I was like, she was just saying all that shit. Not that he didn't say racist shit. I was like, I believe that. But I was like, she was saying, she only brought that shit up because she wanted to win the nomination. And she
Right.
didn't. But she got in how she could fit in, by being a VP. So I
Yeah.
was like, she either was lying then or she's lying now.
They're
Like she
all
cares.
they're all lying. They're all full of shit. And that's the problem. But to me, I'm like, okay, let's
Yeah.
focus on step one. Get rid of the fascists, which I think Trump is like, Mr. Send in the army to protest unless you're a fucking conservative with a
I
gun.
think he's more of an attention whore and a narcissist than anything. I
Oh
don't.
no, he is. I've been reading his niece's book, and
Oh
she's like
God.
she's like her degree is in psychology and
Oh
psychiatry
yeah,
and
I
like
heard about this.
specializes in these personality disorders. She's like, and she's still like, well, I can't particularly diagnose him because he's never been my patient, but knowing him my whole life, narcissist, like, and doesn't have the capacity to actually care about people because it's all about money and it's all about, numbers and will do whatever it takes to win sort of stuff. But like that's not much different than everybody else. They'll all do whatever it takes to win. That's why you see this like
Yeah, they're all like that.
discrepancy.
Like
Yeah.
it's like you remember in 2016, so like when Hillary was when Hillary was running, they're like, she's been a civil servant for 20 or 30. I'm like, yeah, but how much is she worth? Like,
Yeah.
let's be honest.
Right.
So who is she serving?
Exactly. Well, that's the problem is that they're all serving somebody and everybody in some way. Like there's a reason they have this much money. There's a reason like that everybody's like, nobody wanted Biden to be here. Like, but they were like,
He
well,
want to be there.
but they were like, people liked Obama though. Black people loved Obama.
I know he's
And he
like
was, yeah.
Obama
By what? By proxy? Oh, I just lost your sound.
it just doesn't.
Yeah, wait, say that again because I lost you.
Oh, sorry, my sister was calling me.
Yeah.
I'm like, they were like Obama by proxy. I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. Like, no. I don't know if you know this, but they're two different people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they all
and that man needs to go home and take a nap.
Yeah.
Let the man sleep. He's been in the White House for 8 years. He barely did shit. It was hard enough for him to stay awake during those meetings. Yeah. And now you want him to be the president. Like, what are we talking about?
And why is everybody so old? Like,
everyone's old, dude.
Even though I was
Bernie,
I was pro Bernie, but I'm like, but he's like 1,000. He's gonna die.
1,000 years old. He had a heart attack. He had a heart attack during the campaign. Like, and but somehow was chipper more than ever after. It was like he just needed a little jiggling. Like his heart needed a little shaken up. And then he was like ready to go. It's so crazy. I'm like, what are we doing, you guys?
No, we're so screwed. I'm so like,
they're like, hey, so for president, do you want this old guy, this old white guy, this old white guy, or this old white guy?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, how about none of these old white guys? Like it's like nobody ever stood a chance, or they sort of make these decisions for us. And I'm seeing a lot of that. And I'm probably on Twitter too much, where I'm seeing too much shit, and I'm like,
yeah, I know scared. People who are addicted to the Twitter, and I'm like, and they wonder why they're depressed. I'm like, come on, you need to get off Twitter.
No, you do. Like one of the best things I did was go to Big Bear for 3 days and like sit in a cabin that had like, it was like
nothing.
Yeah, there was like nothing around, and we had like games. Like there was like one tiny putt golf thing, like one hole, and like cornhole, and like a basketball hoop, and like a fire pit. And I'm like,
beautiful.
I forgot coronavirus existed. I forgot about politics. Came back, but I came back here, and I was like, today I was like, why am I so hazy? Like I'm like it's all sinking back in, and I'm like, oh, I need my mask to walk the dog. Oh, I need this,
I know, right? You forget the world you live in. There was one day I was like feeling so good, and I was like, gonna walk in the store. I was like, oh, I just need a few items. I'm gonna go to the store, do this, and I'm gonna do that. And I get halfway through the door, and I'm like, I forgot the world I live in. And I had
Oh
to go
God.
back and get my mask and like have my hand sanitizer ready and go
Yeah.
get in line. And I was like,
Yeah, waiting the
ah,
outside line. But yeah, you have your hand sanitizer in the center console. So when you get back in, you're like, don't touch anything. Better not touch anything.
what a mess.
I
Oh my God.
know.
They've ruined. Okay, I liked going to the grocery store. It's like my one of my things I like to do. I used to like, so like during the beginning of quarantine, you know how like everyone had reduced hours.
Yeah.
I hated it because what one of the things I love to do is I like going to Target or the grocery store late night, like 10:30, and just walking around for like an hour because not a lot of people in there and just like absorbing
Just going
all
to
the
every
beautiful.
aisle, like,
Yeah,
oh,
look at
I don't need this,
everything.
but yeah.
I'm not buying any clothes, but I'll go look at the clothes and everything, and then I'll get my groceries and leave. And but I'll walk around for like an hour, and
Yeah.
I miss that. Like, have you ever been to that 24-hour Rouse in Hollywood, Rock and Roll Rouse?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I used
It's
to
on
live
Sunset.
I used to go to I when I lived in Hollywood, I used to go to Trader Joe's. So, but I know of
Yes,
the
but they're
Rouse.
not
Yeah.
24 hours. So
Yeah.
you go to this 24-hour Rouse,
Mhm.
and it's like on Sunset. So sometimes I would go to the Comedy Store, and then I would leave the Comedy Store and I would go to this Ralph's to like get some groceries before I went home, and it'd be like 1 in the morning, and it's amazing because
Yeah.
all the funnest shit happens at that time. So you go in. I saw a dude try and fight a manager, and the manager was willing to fight him. He's like, "Come on, bro," and I was. I saw a guy try and steal a whole bottle of booze.
Oh my
He goes
God.
he goes into the aisle, he takes the bottle of booze and he puts in his coat and they see him on the camera. So the security comes and he goes, hey, man. He said, I ain't trying to steal. I just haven't bought it yet. And he was and you're
Nice
like,
story.
they're
Yeah.
like, you couldn't get a cart. You had to hold it inside your coat. And he's like, hey, man, I hadn't bought it yet. Y'all came and got me. You judging me. I hadn't bought the bottle yet. I'm just holding it. You know, like this one dude was like arguing. He was foreign. This one guy was foreign. He was like, I don't know, like Eastern European or something. And
Mhm.
he like came in a motorcycle. He had like a motorcycle jacket on, but he didn't look cool. And
Yeah.
he was, I forgot why he was arguing with the lady. No, he was arguing with the checker about something, and I was like waiting in line behind him, and he's like, let me talk to your manager. He's like, guess what, bro? I'm the manager. And then
Ah!
he's like, oh, I'm gonna fight you right now. He's like, come on, bro, come at me, like let's fight. And, like the manager was about to fight this
I feel
dude.
like as the manager, like he would have gotten in trouble by his manager. It's like, no, 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 you don't get to fight the customers.
Yeah, but with COVID, I don't get to see any of this.
Well, yeah, because now you can't like one. It's probably is it not 24 hours anymore?
I think it's still 24
But
hours.
but it's like there's still that like people are waiting, and so you don't take your time, sort of thing. It's
Yeah,
so
you just
fucking
get in and get out.
it's so fucking
Yeah.
weird. Like how now we're like getting so used to the mask thing that's like now there's like trends with the masks, and
Oh
there's
yeah, mine is African print.
oh
See that?
nice.
I had this made by this black woman who makes she makes head wraps, and so when COVID hit, she started making masks. You can
Nice.
get a mask to match your head wrap. I
Very
didn't get a
cool.
head. I just got the mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my only cute mask, by the way.
Yeah. No, I have one that I sewed by hand first, like because there was
What, out of a bra?
it was out of like a skirt that I would never wear again that I cut up, and then like a bathing suit string from like a bathing suit top that stopped fitting me, and like just sewed it like with these instructions that I found from my friend. Like she sent me, it was like a YouTube tutorial. So I've got that one, and then I've got like just the regular black ones that stretch over when I can't find that one. I'm like, okay, here's my
I,
masks. But
I thought it was so funny when they were like telling women to cut their bras. I'm like, fuck you. Only a
yeah,
man would tell a woman to cut her bras up to make a mask. Do you know how much bras cost? Listen,
right.
I have huge titties.
Yeah.
You can't tell here. Maybe you can. I don't know.
No, yeah, you
But
can.
I have really big boobs. And
Everybody who's listening and not watching, she lifted them up. So you gotta check the
I,
video.
yeah, I have really big boobs. And so first of all, my bras are already at a premium. And so I'm not cutting shit up.
Yeah.
Second of all, my bra is too big for my face. Like,
It'll
what,
cover
you
your
want me
whole
to
fucking
suffocate?
face.
Is
Yeah,
that what you want?
exactly.
You want me to suffocate? Like, what the fuck? And I'm never cutting a bra up. Like,
Oh,
that's
I
not
wouldn't.
happening.
I have been needing to get a new one because they're like, and I don't even have big boobs. My boobs are small, but they're like, oh, you should change them out every year. I'm like, please, I've been running on this $25 bra for like 5 years, and until it starts
Look,
poking me, I'm keeping it. Like once
listen,
it breaks out,
$25? Bitch,
yeah.
I wish. My bra start at 50.
It's because you that need that much more fabric, huh?
Exactly, and support.
Damn.
So they're not on my knees.
Yeah.
But like
Oh my god.
I'm cutting this bra up. You're out of your
Yeah.
mind.
Nobody's cutting a bra, dude. Like
That shit's
that's crazy.
hilarious.
Yeah, like once you
That's
find one that fits, like you're like, this is it until it falls apart at the seams. Like that's it.
the bras.
Oh my God.
So funny.
What a world. Well, that's the thing. It's like we have this pandemic, we've got Trump being a maniac, we have Biden coming in, not much
Sleepy
better.
Joe.
Not much better. And then we've got like the whole police structure just being the worst. And I mean,
It's a
it's
lot
good.
happening at once.
Yeah, it's good that you're not watching that. But I mean, I'm wondering like
I'm trying to move, girl.
how you're feeling, what you're trying to move out of LA.
Mm-hmm. In
Oh,
the next couple of years, yeah, I want to move.
yeah. Where are you thinking of going?
I don't know. Like, there's a few places on the list. Colorado, maybe that's high on the list.
So what's
I don't know.
what,
I want to live by nature. I want to
yeah.
live somewhere cheaper so I can buy a house.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Me and my boyfriend have been like saving money, and we're like, one day when we get, 50 grand for a 10% down payment, we'll have half a house that we could maybe possibly buy. But by that time, it's like everything's going to be more expensive. So
Yeah, you're gonna have
yeah,
to move out of
yeah,
LA.
yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm from California, so I've only
Oh,
ever lived in California.
oh,
So
really?
yeah. So I mean, I've lived in the Bay Area and I've lived in Los
Yeah,
Angeles,
that's right. You
and
said
so
Bay Area.
yeah. So like, I'm just I want to experience something different. I'll probably come back to California because like this is like where it's at, but I want to live somewhere else.
Yeah. And you're like, if comedy is
And I
going to
want to buy
be,
a house. Like I want to.
yeah,
Yeah, this whole pandemic is exposing that like you don't actually have to be in LA to make it as a comic.
yeah. Well,
You just don't have to anymore.
lots of people are like switching to a lot of like content creation, whereas like some people are doing the Zoom thing, and I haven't done the Zoom thing, but I'm like, maybe pick up like, because like I don't want to do the Zoom thing, but I'm like, maybe pick up like some of your old writing that you have like
Yeah,
left
and they're
behind.
doing all these remote writers rooms now, so it's not even like you could live in fucking Atlanta and be in a writer's room for a show that films in LA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you don't have to. I love it because now it's like people could be wherever. Like you could be moving. You don't have to be in LA. So like even if when stand up comes back, like say you have a writing job, you could live somewhere else and still do stand up, or you could still tour as a stand up and still
Yeah.
work as a writer. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I love it. So I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, I want to experience something else. Like I want to expand my horizons. I want to, see different ways of living and learn different cultures. And like at some point, I think I might want to live in Germany or somewhere
Yeah.
else. Like, and we would be huge in Germany, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, like I went there a couple of years ago and I did a couple shows there. I wasn't there very long, so I didn't get to do a lot of shows, but like their scene is so small. Like we're light years ahead of them.
Oh, wow.
So like an American stand-up, and when I went, I had only been doing stand-up like 2 years. And it was like they were like, oh my God,
You were crushing it.
They're like, you're so polished. I was like, I am. They're like, you.
I would say that you sound very polished, but I don't know how long have you been doing it now, since last time you were on my show?
This year will be my 4th year.
Yeah, that's still pretty new though. But
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, but like to
And
me, like you've always seemed pretty polished, like and calm and like, natural. So
well, I
yeah.
come from theater, so I'm used to being on stage.
Oh, okay.
So like
that makes
stage
sense.
presence,
That's why
yeah,
you
I
can
think.
sing too, which you showed me on my birthday. I was like,
Oh
bitch.
yeah, I
I was
did.
like,
I
holy
forgot
crap.
about
Yeah.
that. I
Those
sing to
are
you.
the days. Yeah.
I know, right? When we could be in the same room.
Never thought that I would love the Hollywood Hotel so much. Can you believe it? Jeez.
Dude, you know how like you go to these mics and stuff and you see someone, but you don't get to say hi to them. You're like, it's fine. I'll see them at the next mic. Yeah. We totally took that shit for granted. We took that for granted.
Yeah, we did.
Like we didn't see each other for 5 months.
I know. I haven't seen Landon since this started. Like, and like he was my co-host. I saw him every Tuesday, and like we've talked about it, and like, but like he's got asthma too, so like his husband is a lot more strict on what he can do, which makes sense. And I'm like, I know, like I don't want to get you sick knowing that you're asthmatic and you're a little more. But it's like he lives down the street, and it's like you kind of got to pick your, pick your risks and shit. So if only we would have known what we know now. That's why it's like whatever it is that you want, get it.
Yeah, we took all that shit for granted.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, oh, I'll catch up at the next one. And then you don't see him for like a year.
Oh my God. Yeah, this year's just done. It's canceled.
It's a weird one.
Yeah.
But I have to be honest with you. I know the world is falling apart, but this is like one of my best years personally.
Really? Well, that's good.
It is. It's kind of like
tell us something good, Jihan. Give us some good news. Everybody needs it. So tell us some good high points that you're excited about.
Well, I started this year I had a new nanny job, and I was working for this actress woman. And it wasn't ideal, but it was going to make me lots of money. So I was like, this is perfect. I'll work for her for like a year, 2 tops, stack my money, and then never nanny again. Right. Mm-hmm. Like that's how much money I was making.
Damn.
And then she fired me. I know. Right. So like 2.5 months
like a cause? Like what was the reason? Did she tell you?
Well, I asked her for a few days off, and I asked if it was possible if I could get off like an hour early a couple Mondays a month to do my podcast. And she said that it's not going to work for me. So she fired me. Instead of saying no, she fired me. I know, weird, right? Which makes me think she was going to fire me anyway.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like a hard thing to hear. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I was like, all right, kicked into high gear because I'm a fucking hustler. Mm-hmm. And I had a new job the next day. And I know, girl. And so then I decided, hey, you know what? I didn't want to do that anyway because I was working 50 hours a week there at that job. And
you know, and a job that you can't even ask for one boundary without being fired is probably a toxic environment to begin with.
And it's a weird thing because, you know, she's like a woman and she's in Hollywood, and you know how all this shit about like, you know, women helping women, whatever the fuck. And, you know, they're saying like women don't ask for what they want in the workplace. That's why they don't. And so I'm asking for what I want in her as a woman instead of just being like, I respect that you asked, but I need this from you. She just fired me because she's not confrontational. And she did it over email. So yeah. And she fired me on my day off. So, okay, that's a whole other story. But
all right.
Yeah, that's a whole other story. But I decided that because I fired. Yeah, I got a new job, which was a temp job, which is great. And I decided, you know what? I don't really want a full-time, long-term job because it takes too much of my time. I was like, I'll just do temp work because I'm with a nanny agency and they have a temp division. So I could like just do job after job after job. And there was always jobs. So I was like, I'm just going to do temp and then I could do whatever the fuck I want to do. So I was like, oh, I feel so free. I felt free. And so I was doing temp, and then I started doing longer term temp, like a month-long job. And then COVID happened, right? And I was like, uh-oh. But I kept my job, and I was like, okay. So I was making, you know, so I was still working, and then they were like, well, it doesn't really make sense to have a nanny when we're at home. So they ended that job, and then I didn't work for like a month or so, which was fine because I had some savings. And so I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to bake a lot. And then I got another job, and then I was like, okay. So I'm working, you know, and then I got a boyfriend, and then I was like, oh, okay.
Because you had time to get a boyfriend too, you know, you're not hustling through the mics, you're not hustling through the day job. Yeah.
It was weird, right? Yeah. And then
you're like the one person that gets a boyfriend during COVID. Everybody else is breaking up.
I know. I'm the only person who yeah, I'm the only person who got a new job during
Mhm.
COVID, who like started a relationship during COVID, like all this shit. And like because of the COVID, you know that they've been doing those mics, the Zoom mics, but did you know that the improv is doing one?
No.
So the improv does one because you know they used to do like Tuesday and Sunday mics where the booker would be there. Well,
Mhm.
the booker is running a Zoom version on Tuesdays. And so I was like, I started doing those. And if you want, you could do one-on-ones with her. So I've been doing one-on-ones with her, which is really cool and like building a rapport,
Oh.
which is great because then you build a relationship with her. So when the world opens again, she like knows you.
Right.
So I found that very helpful. And I got like a writing mentor for like, yeah, like
That's
all this shit.
awesome. That's awesome. You're thriving. That's what I want to hear, dude. I'm like, the world is falling apart. Jihan is thriving, and I'm okay with it. Everybody should be okay with it, man. We need some like good news for once. Jeez.
It's so weird. I was like, I've had way worse years than this. Like,
Yeah.
way. Like 2015 was a doozy.
Oh my God.
Like
Yeah, I think my
2015.
2016 was a nightmare, and I think
Really?
probably yeah, like because that's like I just got divorced. I went to Holland to get away from my ex. Came back. I was like, all right, I moved out. Everything's fine. Cut to mental breakdown. You know,
Oh
like took yeah.
yeah.
So that was like a really tough year for me, but and this has been tough too. But just because for me, on the end of like I was like I have had the same job that I've worked remote for years, and I was like finally like okay, I've outgrown this job, I'm going to start looking. And I finally told like the higher ups about it, that I was looking, and then COVID happens and I'm like damn it,
You're
I'm
like, never
trapped here.
mind.
Yeah, and it's like
Yeah, it's
and
you
so it's
feel
like when you
trapped.
already checked out and I'm like I can't complain because I have an income and I can pay my rent and I have a job, but I'm like boy, is everything that was so annoying before 10 times more annoying now, because now I can't fucking go
Yeah.
anywhere, but I'm still very lucky. But like that's like the one thing I think that's bad. And obviously like not having my show, but I'm like okay, this is an opportunity to reevaluate your
Right.
priorities and
It's
work
good.
on
It's
other
a reset.
things. Yeah, because there's
I'm so
definitely
thankful that I don't actually have that job anymore. Like I'm so thankful that that crazy bitch fired me before COVID because
yeah,
honestly, if I would have still worked there during COVID, who knows what would have happened. You
yeah,
know, like she probably wouldn't have needed me anyway and I would have
yeah,
got fired and it would have been more devastating because I wouldn't have had any options.
yeah, exactly.
You
Whereas
know?
like before, like you'd already made an in and had your foot in the door with other people. Yeah. Like
Right.
whenever you
So
say that, like you're like that crazy bit, like a rich person. I just keep thinking Devil Wears Prada, where you're like, this is just a year. I'm gonna like, put my,
yeah, that's what my plan was like a
yeah,
year.
yeah,
I was like two tops just
yeah,
so I could stack my money because the
yeah,
whole I had this whole plan that she
yeah,
fucking ruined. But the whole plan was to like make the money, get out of debt the first year, second year, stack the money, get the fuck out. And
yeah.
then, you know what I mean?
She's
And
like,
then
shoot,
never
yeah,
come back. Yeah,
yeah,
I know.
yeah.
But it was like, it
No,
wasn't
but
meant to be.
but Colorado really is really cool. And like what before when I moved here, this is when I was with my ex-husband, like I drove, it took a few weeks to drive before I like started the job that I have now. And like we went to Colorado and visited people. And I had a friend that lived in Boulder, and and I went to like a couple of mics while I was there, and they were really like some of them were weird. It was like taco place, but like it was very easy to meet people because I remember just going to a mic, even though they didn't have as like extensive of options as we do here, where it's like there's like so many per day. Like
Hmm.
I easily met people that then took me and like put me on a show because they're like, "Oh, you're from LA. You're like fancier." And I'm like, "Am I?" Like and so it was like really easy to like
Yeah.
meet people, and they were really nice, and there was a scene there, and it was a really
Yeah.
cool
Oh,
like
yeah. And then they have
yeah,
Comedy Works
yeah,
in Denver, which I've been wanting to go to anyway.
yeah,
And honestly, I think some of these other states are going to open up before California. So
yeah,
I'm like so curious about like anywhere I go has to have comedy.
yeah,
Like I just can't, like I'm never going to live in fucking like bumfuck Oklahoma.
Yeah, no,
But
fuck that.
I
Yeah. Fuck that. Well,
no,
it still has to be like a city or like a cool like area that has like shit going on. So it'd be really boring. Like for me,
right.
I'm
I
like
need
I'm working on like getting my once because I have to renew my American passport. Like my parents, dickheads. Sorry if you're listening. Luckily they don't. If they never got me my Dutch passport, even though I was born in a Dutch province, you know.
mhm,
And so I'm trying to get that. So I'm like, if I want to just go live in fucking Amsterdam for a few months, I can
do
do
it.
that, you know? And
Don't go
so,
in December.
no. Well, that's where I went. When
That's
I went last time, I went November 1st to December 15th, and it was fucking
and you
cold.
saw the blackface?
Oh my God. I know about the blackface because of Curacao growing up. And as a kid, I didn't know how racist it was because, like, Dutch people are worse than Americans, racist
They're
wise.
like, this is our pride, and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they'll be like, this is history, and then they'll call you a nigger.
Oh my
You're like,
God.
they're like, they're like, this is our history. This is our history. So go back to your country, nigga. Like,
Oh my
you're
God.
like,
No.
I thought this wasn't racist. They were like, it's not racist. It's just our culture. It's just
It's crazy because like I grew up in Curacao, which is like owned by the Netherlands. It's a Netherlands Antilles, and we had in Christmas time it was like
you had
Sinterklaas.
Suarta Pita.
Yeah, we had Zwarte Piets. Yeah, and Zwarte Piets, Black Peter. If people don't know what it means Black Peter. But it was all people in blackface, but they looked kind of like jesters, and they would come on this boat with Sinterklaas, this like white old dude that's like kind of looks like the Pope, and he would
Yeah, and he has a slave with him.
yeah, exactly. He had his slaves, and he would send them to attack you if you were bad. They'd beat you, put you in a bag, and take you to Spain for some reason. I don't know why. It was always Spain.
There's a history there.
Yeah, there's a history there. Nobody told me how bad it was. I was just like, oh, it's smart to pee. Whatever. I'm a kid. I'm stupid. But then when I went to Holland in 2016, and they had like there was like a divide in the country, and they were like, it's racist to have the people in blackface, which it is. And it's like they come on this big boat. I'm like, this is a slave boat, obviously. You know, like as an older person, I'm like, whoa, how did
They
I
come on
miss
the
this?
Amistad.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And then like, but like what they did was while I was there, even though there were some in blackface, they started changing it to like some of them were blue faces and some of them were red faces.
Then they tried to say, oh, he's going up the chimney and it's soot on his face. They tried
No.
to change the
But then
story.
why does he look like a big lip, like those racist cartoons?
Yeah, they
from
do the
back in
pink lips and they do
yeah,
the nappy wig. I was like, oh,
yeah,
did his hair get nappy in the
yeah, yeah.
chimney
No,
too? What the
it's
fuck are you talking about?
so racist.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
no, there were
it's the
people.
creepiest
Yeah,
thing to see these like blue-eyed, pointy-nosed people with
yeah,
their faces painted up black and the big pink lips and like a fucking
yeah.
afro wig.
No,
It's like
it's so
the creepiest shit.
so bad.
It's the creepiest shit. Like I would, if I'm probably gonna when I have kids, I'm gonna use that as like a horror. That'll be like one of their nightmare books. Like during Halloween, I was like,
Yeah,
well, in the Netherlands,
the
during,
Zwarte Piets come out.
yes, the Zwarte Pieters come out,
Yeah,
and they with their icy blue eyes and their pointy noses,
yeah.
and they paint their skin black, like,
Oh my
and
god.
they're huge assholes.
Yeah, yeah. They beat you,
Weird.
and yeah,
That's my only hesitation to move to one of those countries because I'm
yeah.
like, I just have to leave for a month. That's what's like.
No, yeah. Well, it's funny. Well, because I'm white, I couldn't tell you how it would be for you because I'm like, yeah, you barely see any black people, you know. And the fucked up part, which is like a story I might have
Well, that's
already told,
why they
like,
have no one to check them.
yeah, but there's so many people like that, like they warned me about things, especially just being a woman alone in a foreign country. You know, they were like, watch out for those French black guys that come over and pretend to be
That's what they
tour
say.
guides because they're gonna steal your money. And so like, but I made a friend that was like a black guy from France that also spoke Dutch and did tours, and he also like maybe sold a little weed, but he was so cool. But I still, because I was so warned, I was like, wait, is he fucking with me? Is he trying to fuck with me? And he never did. He was so good, and I was such like an asshole. Like I was nice, and we got along, and we had a great time. But like there was a point where like I bought something, and he was supposed to send me money, and I was like, he's never gonna send me money. It's never gonna happen. Like he's ripping me off because he knows that like I'm visiting here. And then like cut to me going back to America, and he's like, oh, I almost forgot, and he PayPal's me $30, and I'm like, you bitch, like you didn't believe him. Because everybody warned you about the French black guy. It's like for some reason the French guys, because there's a lot of pickpocketing in France. And
Girl,
like,
I got pickpocketed in Prague. So
yeah.
all those dirty fucking those desperate white people. I was like,
Yeah.
there's nothing more dangerous than a fucking desperate
Yeah.
white person in a poor country.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
they stole my phone.
Yeah. Well, that's the
That's
thing.
just
Like,
real.
no, the guy that stole my friend's wallet when we went to Paris was white, and the guy that tricked us into having that happen was white. And I'm like, maybe.
They're crazy.
Mhm.
That's like still an industry over there. They pick like they
Oh yeah,
stole
no, they have a
legit
whole
went in my
system.
pocket and stole my phone. Like
Yeah, they have a
that's a
system.
it's a crazy like we're so dependent on our phones and like to have no phone in a foreign land where I
Oh
don't
my
speak the
god.
language was like the scariest shit. I
Yeah.
was like, if it happened in California, I could it it wouldn't be a huge deal. I could just
Yeah.
go to T-Mobile and get another phone. But
Right.
I was in this fucking foreign place. I didn't know where I was going. We were
Yeah.
leaving Prague. We were going to Berlin, and I didn't have a phone. And I was like, oh, this is exhausting.
No, I
And then
would
I had a
freak
show
out.
that night. Yeah,
How did you even
I had a
find
show
it?
that night.
Cause like that's how reliant we are. It's like, how do you even know how to go?
Well, that's when you have to be a person who's resourceful. So
Mhm.
thank God I come from people who are
Yeah.
scrappy, like my
Hmm.
parents. And so I was with friends and I just wrote down the address of our Airbnb on like a subway napkin, took it with me, went back to the train station to look for my phone, couldn't find it, cried a bunch, sobbed walking through a train station. Nobody stopped to help me
Ah,
except
yeah. What a
this
bunch of
African
dicks.
man. This African dude was like, "Are you okay?" And I told him what happened. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry about it. Like that happens a lot here." And
Yeah.
so he was like, "There's a police substation here, but I don't know what they can do. Like this happens
Yeah.
a lot."
You're
So I
like,
was
the
like, "All
cops
right."
are
He's like, "Go
useless.
to."
So sorry. Yeah.
Well, I go to the police station. Dude does not speak any English. He's speaking Czech. He lied to
Oh.
me. He's like, "I speak a little," and he didn't know what I was saying.
Well,
So
that's
then
all he knew how to say was, I speak a little. And then that's it. It's like when you think you're like, uh, yo hablo un poquito español. And then they start talking to you and you're like, actually, no, I don't. I really do not speak
right?
Spanish.
And so then I go in there and he's like, "Come," and he hands me the phone and there's a man who speaks English. He meets me over there. I fill out like a one sheet form. He asks me a couple questions and then he's like, we'll try and look into this or whatever. And he's like, "Do you need to go somewhere?" I'm like, "I need to catch this bus in 20 minutes." And so he's like, "All right, we'll get you out of here." So I had to like run, get on the train, go back like to another stop, like one stop, buy a bus ticket, and then get on the bus. And when I was on the bus, I made it with like 4 minutes to spare. I get on the bus to go to Berlin. I met a girl who's an Australian girl who's traveling alone, and she had a phone, and she basically gave me the directions to my Airbnb. And
Oh,
um, she actually was staying close to where I was staying, like where she was staying. And so we kind of traveled together to like on the when we got off the bus and we got on the train when we got to Berlin. So she like helped me out. And then
that's awesome. That's what's awesome about traveling by yourself though. Like how many people you meet that like are willing to help you and you make friends with. And like Americans, I feel like are so willing to warn you about like the dangers that if you aren't open to that. And like, of course,
girl,
keep
I
your
had no
eyes out.
choice.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, keep your eyes
You
out,
should have saw me on this fucking bus. I was like, I can't even read because all
Yeah.
my books are on my phone.
Oh my
Like I was
God.
like, just it was like a movie. I was going through all the stages of grief on this like it was like a 4 hour bus ride, and I'm
Right.
just like looking out the window, tearing, and then I'm mad, and then I'm crying again, and then I'm like, what do I do? And then I met this
All
girl,
the tears.
and
Yes.
but she was so cool. She came to my show because I had a show the next night in Berlin. And she was like, "Oh my God, this is right next to the hostel I'm staying at." So she came to my show
Oh, that's
in Berlin. So
awesome.
now I have a friend in Australia when I go.
Fuck yeah. You're like, anyway, I'm moving to Australia because fuck this.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but
To me, I'm
yeah.
like too many
Well,
sharks. Plus, their situation last I checked wasn't going so well. So, oh man,
nah, I'm good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
this is all. I mean, we've been on for about an hour, so we can start wrapping up. But I'm
yeah.
glad that like your year isn't going horrible. I'm glad you're staying away from social media as much as you can.
I'm trying to
And
be
that you're
healthy.
doing okay. You look glowing. You're smiling. You look great.
Oh, thank you.
You
I've
got a
been working
boyfriend.
out.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah.
I know, right?
So I guess like before we wrap up, one, if there's anything you want to say to anybody in regards to everything that's going on that you'd like to get off your chest, say that. Otherwise, can promote anything you want to promote that you're
Off
doing,
my
if
chest.
there's anything.
I don't have anything that I need to get off my chest except I don't know. People need to be more open,
Yeah. And you're like,
and
white
people
girls,
need to
stop
focus.
ruining everything. Yeah.
Yeah, listen more and work on yourself, because it starts with oneself. If everyone looked inward and worked on themselves, the world would be a much nicer place. But people like
Yeah.
to avoid their own shit and deflect it to other shit, and then it just becomes a huge mess because they haven't even dealt with their own. So I would say focus on yourself and like try and be the best that you can possibly be, and lead by example. That's how we learn. We all
Yeah.
learn that way. We see things, we see people. That's why there's a 50 million Instagram influencers, okay?
Yeah.
Because people are always looking to see people improving their lives to inspire them to improve their own. So
Yeah.
I think if people look inward, like it would just be like so much better.
Yeah. I agree
Um,
with that 10,000%.
so that's why I'm working on my shit, girl.
Yeah.
You know, I got all this shit. So I'm
Yeah.
like, let me get my shit together while
Right.
I got some time.
Yeah.
So, and I say, like, subscribe to my YouTube channel for my podcast. It's called F
Awesome.
That Podcast.
F that podcast. Oh,
Um,
fuck yeah. I'll check it out and I'll find it. I'll find all your stuff through your socials that we're already connected on, and I'll include the links in the show notes for everyone.
yeah, we're gonna launch season 2 pretty soon. So, like, it's gonna be fun.
Very cool. All right.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thanks for hopping on with me, even though you're
Yeah.
in nature. I appreciate it. And hopefully I'll talk to you or see you soon, unless you move somewhere.
No, it'll be in a couple of years. I gotta
Yeah.
stack my bread, you know.
Yeah, totally. All right. Thanks, Jihan. I'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.